the plastics problem. Okay.
All right, can we get started? Was that the sign? Okay, good, that's the sign. Hey everyone, my name is Gerrit Kazmaier. I'm the head of analytics engineering and the head of DDM and HANA product and engineering, and I'm here today to talk about the analytics strategy. And I can tell you, you guys are in for a treat, because there are some things that I'm showing today that have not been shown before to anyone, and that's always special. So we guys gonna have fun now. I was asked to quickly talk about the strategy before I hand it over to my counterpart today. And the big strategy of analytics is driven by those two numbers to a large degree, 44 by 2020. Does anyone have an idea what that possibly could mean? None of the SAP folks. That's a good guess. But actually, no. It's an estimate by EMC that by the year 2020, we will have 44 zettabytes of data. And 44 zettabytes is a special number because that's roughly the amount than what is estimated in the physical universe to exist in the number of stars. So by 2020, the digital universe in bits will eclipse the number of stars that we have in the physical universe. And the physical universe is a very good example of how we are dealing with data, mostly in analytics, because there is an abundance of it. And if you think about the enterprises that you know of or that you're working in, you will know that you will have an abundance of data even as of today. The customers that I visit, they are all in the petabyte range of data. And petabytes are gigantic, but when you look into their analytics solutions, when you look into the large ERP systems, you will recognize that only terabytes are getting used out of this data, sometimes even only gigabytes. And those are factors of thousands. So this slide here is not sized correctly even. It's just the smallest I could make the white bar to make it visible to the human eye. But if you look at the unused to used data ratio, we are talking about a factor of 1,000 in most of our customers. And much like the guy on the slide here, you know, we are all obsessed with telescoping into this data. You know, let's find one spot of this data which is really valuable and then really zooming in on this. The issue with that is that we are missing the bigger picture. We are not using the abundance of data that we even have as of today. And as we are progressing now in the year towards the year 2020, and data accumulates more exponentially, this problem is just getting worse. And when things are getting worse and we have complex problems, the most used strategy of humans is we can do this fairly interactive today, substitution, right? I cannot solve this complex problem, so I rather solve a simpler one. When it comes to data management, it's efficiency. Most of us think about data management in terms of efficiency. How quickly or how cheap can I store and manage my data, regardless of the value it generates downstream? If you think about the data lakes deployment that you know, and if you're trying to quantify the impact that it had on lasting business value, you will find that it's marginal. I think that's a fair summary. So our strategy was changing that. Let us leverage the full universe of data in the first stage that we have in SAP systems. And if we can quickly switch to the MacBook here, I will show you what that means. And this is now the part where you are the first ones of seeing it today. This is the full analytics experience that I'm getting as a user. No tool, no dashboard, no create chart here or there. It's having my alerts, the alerts that I subscribe to, and a search interface. And that is significant because if you think about the whole notion about you have to visualize your data, you might wonder why. It's like when a car manufacturer is telling you driving is fun. It really sounds good, but if you think about it, it really is not. And the purpose of data is not to visualize it. The purpose of data is making good decisions upon it, using it, right, for business value. So I'm getting an alert from my analytics system that's telling me something. When I'm clicking on this alert, you see that I get a summary for that development that is personalized to the KPI and to me. And it's even offering me new questions that I could ask that are related to this data point. So for instance, I could say, yeah, but I'm more interested now in the quota met by sales manager, and just issue a new query, and you will see it responds with the exact right visualization for the question that I asked in conjunction to the KPI alert that I was receiving. And if you think about the people who are in the business, who are using the systems to make the decisions as they go, this is really what they want, right? They want to have the Spotify experience. I need to get what I want at the time of need. And I don't want to have complications like, creating something up front or ordering something. I don't want to buy the CD up front before I can listen to the song. I want to get the value right away. And this experience that you are seeing here, that works across all of the SAP systems connected to SAP Analytics Cloud. Now you might wonder, if you really can use the abundance of the data ecosystem, how about we take this one step further? Because you are not logging into an analytics system like all the time, right? If I think of my day, it's mostly driven by emails, like the world's biggest workflow engine. That's an email that I'm getting on a regular basis in a managerial function. I want to do a business trip. And usually I have no idea if I should approve it or not, because what is the budget? What is the estimate? Will I meet my budget at the end of the year if I approve this trip? What are even comparable costs that occurred on a trip like this? What we did is we added a sidekick function of Analytics Cloud, which now inspects the content of the email. And if I hover over it, it tells me, for instance, the average flight costs from Munich to Berlin. And when I activate the sidekick, it's offering me the same search experience that I was looking at, again related to the number I'm expecting. So I can just say now, by spend type, for instance. And it will give me all of the information right in my experience where I read the email from the analytics solution at a point in time of need. And this is what it means when you think about using the entire data universe of SAP, because in this example, it's travel data from Concur. In the other example, it was C4 data on the sales expenses, all coming together in one simple experience delivered via the cloud. Can we go back to the slides, please? So, the one simple cloud strategy. That is our big promise, that we focus on getting all of our experiences unified across predictive and planning, that we have smart analytics the way I was just showing it, that we do a new type of planning that my colleague Ivo Bauermann is going to talk about in 1 second, and that we add predictive to both the data scientist users, the citizen data scientist, and as an embedded part in the application itself. The key point is, oops, let me just skip ahead to this slide. I have to hurry on, Ivo, so you are getting your fair share of the time. The key part for you in the audience is that the one simple cloud strategy is in conjunction with all of the SAP products that you know and have. It is working together with HANA, BW, the BI platform, BPC, the Data Hub, and the core message is that the one simple cloud strategy becomes an umbrella across all of these platforms. It's a consumption experience which allows you to turn the data that you have and the semantics that you have in terms of universes, BW queries, HANA models, or BPC environments through this concept that we call agile data semantics and the HANA data fabric into something that Analytics Cloud can understand and offer this killer experience that I was showing to you just 1 second ago. And if we can quickly go back to this, to the notebook, please. I also want to take a second and show you that this does also not stop on the existing SAP product as you know them. This was Rome BI. an independent offline mobile application that we acquired. It's now connected to Analytics Cloud, to all of the systems that I was talking about previously. And this entire experience of Roam BI, this insane mobile capabilities that allow you to use all of the mobile intrinsic gestures and offline experiences, is something that you can now put in the hands of your business, connected to Analytics Cloud with all of the semantics, all of the integrity, all of the connectivity that you get through this platform. And that's the essence of this one simple cloud strategy. The value of what you have with a new experience so it can reach everyone. And with this, I would like to hand it over to Ivo to talk about planning. And then at the end, we are going to show you both the best demo you have ever seen. Ivo, awesome. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gerrit. It's very good. So as Gerrit said, the whole purpose of analytics is to turn data into information so that we can create business value. What we have found is that based on research by McKinsey, the key business driver today is the ability to reallocate resources and do this really fast. In fact, what they have found is that companies that are better at this than other competitors that are less agile will be worth twice as much. And that gap will actually accelerate given all the digitization that is happening. So this is significant business value. And that brings us to planning. So how do we do this? And we have great technology, but the problem is we're not particularly good at using it properly. This goes back to the early days. Anybody know why cars were not replaced or substituted by, or horses substituted by cars? The reason was that men drinking coming out of a bar couldn't drive the car, whereas a horse would take you home automatically, right? So, but it's kind of crazy, right? But look at our world, particularly in planning and analytics. There's still a lot of spreadsheets being used, and executives don't even know how many spreadsheets are being used. Analysts will admit that it's not highly efficient. So, why are we doing this? The good news is that innovators, the ones that are using new technology, are much better at forecasting and reforecasting. They're much faster and they're much more accurate. And this is important because now you can move from what we traditionally have seen, a very centralized planning process centered around finance, and then spreadsheets in the periphery and the extremities in the business, that you can move that now to a more distributed network planning, as Gerrit pointed out. And this is a significant shift. And this is also where that new technology comes into place that Gerrit talked about, that we can make that pervasive in the business, in those systems, in those business processes, that we can embed it in those business processes. So that is a major shift of what we're seeing in planning. And that with that, you really can start to see what we call the beauty in your plans. Why do you want to use a spreadsheet if you can have this kind of technology and the innovations that Gerrit just showed you to drive your planning processes much faster and much more accurate? And this is doable. You can do this like Pratt Industries does. Pratt Industries is a company in 100% recycling, so they're really taking care of the environment. And what they found with Analytics Cloud planning, that they could drive out so much cost that they could actually save that and use that to build another plant, right? So that can even save more and have a bigger impact on the environment. So again, this goes beyond business value. This is significant impact. So how we do this? We make it very simple, right? That is the most important thing for the business end user. How do we do this in a simple way so they can operate this? And this is actually a great example of what Gerrit talked about, the combination of BI, have the historical information, use it for planning and forecasting, and using predictive tools, right? So all in one simple application available to the business end user. But make no mistake, there is very advanced capabilities behind this. So you can build highly advanced formulas, calculations, and what have you to drive all kinds of calculations. You can chain those advanced calculations so that you can drive a whole process where you pick up data from a system, you transform it, you maybe do some calculations, some allocations, move it from a sales plan to a financial plan, and turn it into some analysis and seeing what the final business impact is. Connecting all those different plans and do that in a highly advanced way. But then still, to the end user, make it very user-friendly and easy to use. So what I just showed, the building those formulas and chain them into what we call data actions, you can then still simply expose that to the end user. So imagine if you have to build a workforce plan or an HR plan, and you have this grid in front of you, and you need to populate it with a simple click of a button, as you can see here. You can just run all kinds of calculations. Like I said, pick it up from a source system, allocate it, do some calculations, and this gets populated. Now, this might look simple on a service, but keep in mind, we're just looking at a slice of the data here. All those calculations and actions happen across an entire model, multidimensional, across time, across organizations, across accounts, and what have you. So some very heavy lifting happening in the back end. And what we're doing on top of that, in addition to making this very simple for the end user, also make this simple to build. So this is coming from the lab. This is what we're working on right now, to do all these types of business modeling and advanced formulas and calculations in a highly visible way. So you can see how all these things are coming together in really nice constructs and objects, so you can do some really advanced things, okay? Much better than a spreadsheet, right? This is really advanced type of planning that will help you drive business value. So we do this in a planning context, but we're actually expanding this. And for that, I'd like to invite Gerrit back to announce what we're doing and give you the ability to build entirely new standalone analytic applications.
Thank you, Ivo. So at the beginning, I was talking about the one simple cloud strategy, and I was talking about the business user. But I was not talking about a very important other persona. And I assume most of the people here work in an IT-related function, right? Who of you works in IT? What is the rest of the folks doing coming to TechEd? That is something that I would be interested in the survey results after the show. IT plays an instrumental role in the one simple cloud strategy, because one part is that we generically enable the business users to get what they need when they need it. On the other side of the spectrum, we need to make sure that our partner ecosystem, IT teams, ISVs have the means available that they need to create new applications based on the ideas that they are having, on the problems that they are solving, and using the rich set of functions that we have in planning, predictive, BI, and simulation at the same point in time. So if we switch back to the laptop here for a second, and this is exactly what we have done. We have added an application builder on the Analytics Cloud platform. And today in this room, we have the product management team and a part of the engineering team on this side sitting who made this possible. So you did a killer job, team, and a round of applause before I hit the button. Thank you after the demo. It's always good getting the applause first before you show the demo. In this application builder, I have access to the full functionality of Analytics Cloud. And Ivo was talking about planning, predictive, and BI. So when I launch this application now, and it's hopefully coming up, otherwise it's really good that we spend the applause. So while the application loads, we are, here it comes, good. In this application, we are combining IoT sensor data with SAP data from our maintenance data, and can run now a remaining useful life prediction on the machineries of the sensor. And the application itself is not the important part. The important part is what you can now build if you think about, hey, if I can access a predictive function and can run, as in this scenario, a real predictive model to score and to indicate my remaining use of life, can do a simulation about what risk do I want to take in my replenishment cycle, what risk do I want to take by buying new versus repairing them, and what impact will it have on my customer satisfaction and on my budget, and ultimately directly triggering an order in an SAP S/4 system in one application. Just imagine what you can build when you think about the richness of the platform, predictive BI planning, all coming together, and you're getting a development environment where you can use all of the intrinsic capabilities and just combine them with simple JavaScript code, invoking a predictive model, running in the platform, connecting to an on-premise system, making a web service call to trigger a workflow, all coming together in one simple cloud for the business as well as for IT professionals. And that concludes our session today. Thank you.